This tutorial explains how to configure an intranet account at the IT web system, to synchronize research metadata with ORCID. ORCID is a non-profit organization, helping create a world in which all who participate in research, scholarship, and innovation, are uniquely identified and connected to their contributions and affiliations, across disciplines, borders, and time. Here are some advantages of registering for an ORCID ID. ORCID IDs are unique to each author, thus enabling unequivocal match between the researcher and his works. The ORCID ID is adopted by numerous publishers, allowing authors to input it during the article submission process. This allows reliable automatic metadata workflows between ORCID and their databases. A link to the researcher's ORCID record will generally appear next to the author's name across different platforms, thus facilitating widespread access points to his research history. IT database is integrated with ORCID, allowing a two-way sync of metadata. This alleviates the IT researcher from the burden of manual metadata updates. If you still do not have an ORCID ID, you can register at orcid.org, and get one. The ORCID ID is formed by a unique string of 16 alphanumeric characters. In the next slides, we show how to associate your record from the IT database with your ORCID record. Log into your IT account as usual, in the IT Scientific portal, using your IT credentials. The ORCID platform requires that the researcher individually authorizes IT to interact with your ORCID record, namely to read and add information to your ID. Click on the black round button in the top menu bar. This window will contain later, a mirror of your ORCID items. Click on the green button, and you will be directed to the ORCID site. Sign into your ORCID account using your ORCID credentials. Authorize, if you agree to the conditions. You automatically get back to the ORCID mirror page at the IT web system. The green ORCID icon indicates that your authorization is on. The red button allows revoking the authorization at any time. The window mirrors now all entries existing in your ORCID registry. For a given set of works registered in the IT database, and another registered at the ORCID registry, it is possible to export metadata from IT database to ORCID, or import from ORCID, or associate, or pair, unsynced entries existing in IT database and ORCID registry. Let's start with the export function. At the IT intranet, select for instance the journal paper menu. You may want to refine the journal papers list. Using the filters of the search menu, select the papers you want to export with the orange buttons, and then click on the Export Selection blue button. You are directed to a page that summarizes at the left panel your picks for export. Review the list, correct if necessary, and click on the Export to ORCID button. Check marks indicate that the entries were correctly exported to ORCID. Block marks indicate that the entries were not exported, in most cases because they already exist in the ORCID registry. And that's all for the export function. You can go back to the mirror window clicking on the green button. The imported and synced entries are now marked with the blue icon. The entries with a green icon exist in your ORCID record, but are not synced with IT database. Click on one example. On the left you have the paper you selected from ORCID, and on the right the list of papers in your IT record. Possible matches are listed in the top, but you can look down also. If you find a match, select that paper from the list and then click on the Associate button. The two will become synced. If you do not find a match, click on the Create button. It leads to the usual publication input page, where most of the fields are already filled in. Unfortunately, the import tools from ORCID do not provide the author's ORCID ID, so authors' names cannot be filled in automatically. You will have to do it using the usual tools and rules from the IT system. For more information, check with the system administration.